but there's still a possibility of price fluctuations, which we are seeing now. And you ask, why is this happening? The major reason, to the best of my knowledge, is because the refinery still operates within the global crude oil market dynamics. So when we see a fluctuation there, somehow it affects the refinery. So that stabilization that we are looking out for might still have some sort of fluctuations once the global crude oil market, is affected, which is what is playing out now.
You know, in the elementary economies, that if there is a demand for a product and the supply is limited, of course, prices are likely to go up. And that is why we are playing and praying and trusting that many people come into that sector so that, of course, we can leave the near monopolistic state where we are now. And I think that's the fundamental issue.
This is Soup Business Landscape. Now, the people that heard us, they have come out to pull this particular rug, not from under our feet, but under theirs. Now, they are calling Dangote out. Dangote fuel price hike may trigger wider economic impact. That's funny. The president of the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association, the same people that are selling fuel that have increased. Bill Gallagher says the latest increase in the price of premium motor spirit by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery could trigger broader economic consequences. He was speaking during an interview with a sister station published on X on Wednesday. He said and warned that fuel price adjustments often create ripple effect across multiple sectors. That is for sure. He noted that transport costs, food prices, and general business operations are usually affected when the cost of petrol rises. His comments followed the refinery's decision to raise the gantry price by 100 naira. The adjustment moved the S-depot price to 874 naira per litre from 774 naira. Industry observers say such changes could influence pump prices nationwide. They've done that already, as marketers adjust to the new supply cost. Okay, NNPC were the second to officially say, we are taking our prices to this, and they did with immediate effect. As of yesterday, pump stations were selling at 1,000. We bought for yesterday at 1,000.
Well, I've seen 935, I've seen 937 per litre, but I'm yet to see a fuel station that sells at 1,000. And like you said, once the price of petrol goes up, it affects everything. It is a ripple effect because transportation logistics basically depend on fuel. So we see the price of food go up, we see the price of staples go up, transportation goes up. You want to purchase something and they tell you, maybe it was 1,000 last week, and you go this week and it's 1,500, and they say, fuel price has gone up, and you ask yourself, where are we going? It's also important to note that the Dangote Refinery in the first place was expected to, stabilize domestic fuel supply, but there's still a possibility of price fluctuations, which we are seeing now. And you ask, why is this happening? The major reason, to the best of my knowledge, is because the refinery still operates within the, the global crude oil market dynamics. So when we see a fluctuation there, somehow it affects the refinery. So that stabilization that we are looking out for might still have some sort of fluctuations once the global crude oil market, is affected, which is what is playing out now.
Okay. I have this question, but I won't ask you. I'm not that harsh. Let me go to Doc, because I want him to answer this for me. Hello, Doc, are you there? Just say yes.
I'm with you.
Thank you very much. Doc, the first bomb dropped in Iran on Saturday, preceding, then Sunday. All of the importers, none of them landed, be it crude for Dangote that is refining, or be it PMS, or crude, or diesel for those that are importing. None of them landed or baited or bought on that Saturday. Whatever ship has crossed has already crossed, and we're here. So why are we having the immediate increase in price when the price of crude as at Saturday was still even going lower? But immediately that happened, we now started seeing price increases here. And NNPC, Dangote, nobody's talking about that. But when it comes to reducing the price when crude goes down, we are now told that we still have excess stock available. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
It's unfortunate, and that happens almost every time. But I think For those who done elementary economics, we understand that economics is all about how to manage resources and where and how and when state can intervene in the business process to regulate and make market to be able to be friendly to all for mutual benefit of those who are producing and those who are consuming. And I think this is where, of course, NDPRA need to actually up their game. Yes, of course, we are in an era where the market forces should determine how prices are done. But I think it is also incumbent on the NDPRA to be able to set guidelines on how prices can be increased. And I think that is what is done everywhere across the globe. What that means is, of course, industry players are given some regulations on the kind of inventory they can maintain for a certain period of time to be able to guarantee stability in the market, so that if you have inventory that has come into your stock at a certain level that can last maybe 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months at maximum, then of course the 3 months period become the time frame for a price review. And if those regulations are followed very critically, I think everybody will be able to adjust. But the truth is that, like, of course, the president said on his day one in office, subsidy is gone, which means, of course, government is no longer the one determining what prices petrol are selling. It is now the market forces, the unseen hand of the market, that tells at what price products are going to sell. And of course, you know, in the elementary economies, that if there is a demand for a product and the supply is limited, of course, prices are likely to go up. But here, and that is why we are playing and praying and trusting that many people come into that sector, so that, of course, we can leave the near monopoly state where we are now. And I think that's the fundamental issue. If the NNPC refineries were working and producing, we will see a balancing act. But here now, there is nothing to balance what we have. And the thing that can balance it is the importation we are doing, which is not helpful because of the logistic challenge that, of course, this global politics, of course, will affect. So I think that what we should be expecting is the fact to see that likes of the BOA, that their refinery come on stream, and other players invest in the downstream in refining, and then, of course, we will be able to have a true market price or reflective cost on the pump price of petrol. Outside that, I think Dangote is a businessman, and every businessman is looking for profit, and of course, it cannot be isolated. The only way to insulate the people against this monopolistic crave for profit is to have multiple players in the sector, and then, of course, competition will deliver value to the consumer at the end of the day.
Right. But realistically, looking at this in a very realistic way, can local refinery stabilize petrol prices in the long term, if we want to be realistic about it?
Yes, they should be able. And I think we can work out that dynamics. What it is that, of course, we talk about the volatility in the global oil market, and that is what it is. People are investing in petrol production. There are a lot of costs that can be saved if you are producing locally, and that happens. But here now, you see, Dangote will need to import a crude from America to be able to produce petrol for the Nigerian market. What that means is that the cost of logistics of moving the crude, not just the cost of buying from America to Nigeria, is also humongous. And when you ask that to the input into your pricing, it will definitely move the price up. Now, you imagine that this crude is just coming from Lagos water, or it's coming from Port Harcourt, or coming from Warri or Bayelsa, wherever. Of course, you will know that the cost of transportation is going to be minimal. And that, of course, will reduce the cost. Don't also forget that distribution is also part and parcel of this cost that, of course, our consumers will bear. Dangote is producing in Lagos here, and of course, the cost of carrying this product from Lagos to Akwa Ibom, for example, or Lagos to Maiduguri, for example, also will affect the pricing. And these are some of the issues that, of course, we have to talk about. Don't forget that at the beginning, when, of course, the people who work in the petroleum downstream wanted to frustrate Dangote, the first thing he did was to go import trucks that will distribute this petroleum product. That is a cost to Dangote. So you also can imagine that we have refineries now, and then we are having depot facility activated all across, and we don't need to use truck to distribute majorly petrol between states. That will also ease the pricing. And that is why I'm saying that if other players come on stream, and we're having refineries in Port Harcourt, in Bayelsa, in Warri, in Edo State, in Kaduna, and everybody is producing, then the market will be saturated. That is excess supply. And if demand is not matching supply, of course, that will affect price. They can't sustain a price at a certain level. They will have to adjust to the market reality. That is the point that I'm trying to make.